What is up, baseball family? Welcome to our Thursday night live here at the Baseball Together podcast. I'm Brig. I am back on my home turf, and I got Mr. Brad right here with me. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing well, Brig. Thank you. How is it? How does it feel to be home?
It's fine, actually. It feels just fine.
Just
We are childless at the moment, and that's kind of an interesting change. Kind of nice. We've got them at separate destinations, and I'm not sad for just a minute. I'm usually sad, and then I think, oh, this is kind of nice, and then I go back to being sad. It's kind of a complicated situation.
yeah, that seems like it would be. I'm not sure what that would be like at this point in life.
Exactly. Well, I'm telling you, it's complicated. Baseball family, let us know how you're doing tonight. Check in from wherever you are. Let us know the location you're in. Are you at home? Are you at the pub? Do you enjoy listening and watching on your phone? Is this tomorrow for you? That's very possible. We post content every single day specifically to the YouTube machine. It's the best place to get a hold of us. It's the best place to support us as well. So while you're on YouTube, go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, and review the show anywhere you can. Share it with your friends. We want everybody to be part of our baseball family. As you know, for those of you who are always here with us, we are the first and only, as far as I'm concerned, family-friendly, expressly family-friendly baseball podcast. And we keep it that way. We want our kids to be able to watch the show with us and participate from time to time, which they have done. And we want your kids to be able to do the same. So join in, share it with people. Fan first, family friendly. That's what we got going on here. Brad's got a mini game set up for me, which I'm very excited about. And then we're going to get into contenders or pretenders. And the situation is not as clean as it may have once appeared to be. So, Brad, let's do the mini game.
Okay, before we do that, let's remind everybody about millions.co. That's where our merch shop is hosted right now. You can head over to millions.co and search Baseball Together. Or, as always, you can hit the link down in the description. There's a link for everything we talk about down in the description for you. We have a couple t-shirts, a couple hoodies, a couple stickers, and one more design on the way. And we'll let you know when that is finalized and released, because we're going to be very excited about it. Okay.
Regimundo.
Mini game. Okay, Brig. Who wins in a best of 7 series? It's just this or that. It's not a bracket challenge. Just I'm going to give you 2 teams. Okay. I want to know who wins a best of 7 series. You ready?
Yeah. Current teams?
2. Actually, technically 1.
Just some teams. Okay.
Yeah, you ready?
Yes.
The 1927 Yankees or the 1998 Yankees?
Oh, man. 27.
The 2017 Dodgers or the 2024 Dodgers?
17.
The 1986 Mets or the 1969
one.
Mets?
86 or 69?
Yep.
Wow. Jeez. Does 86, can they have all the mojo, the miracle mojo coming with them? If
sure,
so,
yeah, we'll say it's October, yeah.
If so, then I'm going to go with 86, but only because of the drug-addled miracle that was going on.
The 1985 Royals or the 2015 Royals?
85. Yeah.
And the 2003 Tigers or the pre-deadline 2024 White Sox? Pre-deadline, pre-deadline.
That's a great one. Who wins? The Tigers.
Who wins?
Yes,
best of 7. I think you're.
Tigers win.
That's tough.
But I don't know.
It's a tough. Well, I don't know. They're both really bad. The all 3 Tigers did catch some end of season mojo that kept them from breaking the record that the White Sox are going to break. Like, no doubt in my mind.
They're exceptionally bad. Exactly right. That was a great game, Brad. I really liked that. Baseball family, jump in the comments and let us know what you think. Are we crazy? Is Brad crazy? Did I get it right? We want to know what you think. And vote. Go ahead and play the game along with us and vote in the comments. All right. One of our favorite things to do is to play Contenders or Pretenders, which is different than last week's Panic or Patience, where we go kind of through the middle of the division lineups. This time we're going to stay middle up and go to the top. Specifically, are these teams contending for playoff positions and eventually World Series potential? Do they have World Series potential, or are they faking it? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Let's start, as we always do, in the American League East. Brad, as of
Yes.
this moment, the Yankees and the Orioles are tied for first place.
Well, and I don't think that Orioles game is over yet. So
Right.
if things hold up, which I'm pretty sure they will, given the fact that the score is, it's over 10-3. The Cleveland Baseball Club beat the Orioles today. So technically, as of this moment, the Yankees are up a half a game.
Yep, up half a game. It just hasn't uploaded on my end. It's very
No,
strange why it has
like
not.
that game's only been over for maybe 10 minutes at this
Oh,
point.
that's why
So
then.
it
Okay.
hasn't updated yet. Yeah.
It was a 10-3 victory. My goodness, and all of the golly gee graciouses. That is
Yep.
absolutely insanity.
So do we want to start with
How
the
about
Yankees or
them
the Orioles at
Yanks?
the top of the? You want to start with the Yankees?
Start with the Yankees because, okay, I have thoughts, but you go ahead. Are they contending or pretending, Brad?
I think they're contending.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through a bad stretch. Everybody's
Yeah.
going to have a bad stretch. The Yankees was just happened to be like a month and a half long, right?
It was a long time. Yeah.
And honestly, I think so. So I love the Jazz Chisholm edition more and more every single day. I also hate it because it makes the Yankees that much more dangerous. Because
Right.
this guy comes in and they're like, well, he's a second baseman naturally. And then Gleyber Torres is like, I'm a second baseman. This is where I'm going to play. Well, Gleyber, you've got more errors than anybody has ever had at that position since you've entered the league. Well, I don't care. I'm a
Right.
second baseman. That's where I play. And then Jazz
Yeah.
comes in and says, I just want to win a championship. Put me
Can play
wherever you
whenever.
want me.
Don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll give it my best. Like,
Yeah.
dude, go out there, do it, right? So I love that energy has been infused into this team. And I think because of Gleyber Torres' comments, it's almost like, okay, then you do your thing. You're not coming back next year anyway now. So just play, right?
I feel that.
But I think there's been an infusion of positivity in the clubhouse and energy that was lacking
Mm-hmm.
with Jazz Chisholm. And I think that it's going to be really scary for the rest of the league because the Yankees are still 65-45 despite
They
playing
are.
abysmal for a month and a half.
And they still have a plus 86 run differential, which is second, or a plus 118, which is second to none. The Orioles have a plus 86 run differential right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. And for Jazz to have come in and hit that many home runs in his first 3 or 4 at bats, and
First 48
against
hours.
the Phillies,
Yeah.
who have unbelievable amounts of momentum and talent and strength and all that. Like,
Well, at
it's
this
just
moment, I wouldn't say momentum, but
okay. That's
they do
true.
have a ton of talent, especially their pitching staff has been like
Yeah,
one of the best in baseball all season long.
it has. It has. Well, and they're still, let me just double check. They still have the best record in baseball behind Cleveland's baseball club. They're in second place.
Yeah,
But
they have the best
compared to
record in the National
Cleveland,
League. So
they do. Yeah. But they have a positive run differential of about 15 or 16 points over Cleveland's baseball club due to the Phillies. So this is very interesting. This whole thing's very interesting. Anyway, so the
it is.
Yankees are contenders. I agree. I cynically, I can't jinx us, but I have cynical thoughts that I will hold in reserve. And at the end of the season,
Write them. I was
if
gonna say write
things
them down
go,
because I want to hear them.
I will. It's not going to take much to prove me right, and that'll be great. I hope I'm wrong. Okay. But Baltimore, Brad, currently second place after tonight's loss in the AL East. Are they contending or pretending?
I think they're still contending. They made some really good moves. The
Yeah.
Austin Hayes move was really puzzling to me, because you bring in Christian Pashy, who's like fine, right? He's
Yeah.
supposed to be really high end, but I don't know. Like they made some changes. I mean, Jackson Holiday seems to have figured it out, at least for one at bat
Surprise,
so far,
surprise. For one at
right?
bat. That's what I was just gonna
You know,
say.
like
Yes.
I don't know, like who knows if he has because he's still batting under 100 in his couple games back, but I
Yep.
don't know, like it's hard to say that the Orioles are not contenders based on the fact that they've been so good this entire season. They're
Yep.
5-5 in their last 10, but they have a 38-28 record against teams over 500, 38-29
Yeah.
after tonight. That's a pretty dang good record and tells me that like you get to the playoffs, you've got a good chance of making a run. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say they're World Series contenders still, despite their recent struggles.
I agree. I think these are short-lived struggles for Baltimore, and I'm not counting them out. And if I'm a Birds fan, I'm not worried at all, like at all.
No, I wouldn't be. And like I said, everybody has rough stretches. This is theirs. They'll be fine.
Okay, now we're gonna ask the Boston question because we have to. They forced themselves into the conversation, even though they lost a couple. They're 57-50. They're only 6.5 games back in the division, which still remains surmountable, depending on how things go for the top two teams.
I
But
think
they're
6.5 is too
one.
much for them to overcome. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it
I'll
is,
save
but
mine.
they're 2 games back in the wild card race, um, and I don't think that's insurmountable. I think that is entirely possible for them because they will be sitting behind either Baltimore or New York at this point to be Baltimore, Kansas City, and Minnesota. So which one's gettable? Kansas City, probably Minnesota,
Minnesota's
depending on
gettable.
how
They
they
didn't even
go.
make any trade deadlines. We'll get to that though.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right.
so the Red Sox, I like 6.5 is not that much, and there's just enough baseball that it's like 6.5. But I don't think that they could finish the next 2 months 7 games better than either the Orioles or the Yankees. Like that's
I
the
agree.
thing is like 6.5, not bad. You're in the mix, but you look who you're going up against. Like both
Yeah,
teams that have to have an absolute meltdown, and the Red Sox are absolutely gettable too. I watched them
true.
this weekend, and so they they took advantage of a missed called third strike in game one against the Mariners. And then after that, Logan Gilbert just melted down and they scored 7 runs with 2 outs. I mean, it was an
Right.
0-2 count, or it was a 1-2 count, called ball two, what should have been strike three to end the inning. Instead, they go on to score 7 runs with 2 outs. That was the difference in the game. It ended up being
Yeah.
a 7-run game, 14-7. So their pitching is definitely gettable by anybody who's a contender. Their defense is not outstanding, I don't feel like. And they take their I feel like their offense is built to take advantage of the Green Monster, but a
Hmm.
lot of offenses are built. A lot of offenses can take advantage of the Green
These
Monster.
days.
So they
Yes.
can get got for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a little bit of a skid in September and ended up falling out of the playoff picture. But if they can hold steady, if they can play 500 ball the rest of the way, they'll probably be fine.
Yep. So, final word: contending or pretending?
Uh, I'm gonna call them pretenders. I don't think that they're contending for like they'll contend, but they're not gonna make it. I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure.
They're gonna pretend to contend. How's that? That's what I'm looking for.
See, and I'm calling them contenders, but I'm not giving them any more love than past maybe the wild card round. They might make it past the wild card round and then they're getting knocked out. I don't care who they go up against.
Yeah. See, I
That's
think
how I
they'll stay
feel.
in the mix. I think they'll stay in the mix, but they won't get over the hump.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call. Okay, let's move on to the American League Central. We know Cleveland's baseball club. Let's just call them contenders. Absolutely no question about
Despite
that.
their recent struggles, like they're 7-3 in their last 10, but they have some issues that they're going to
They
have to
do.
figure out before they make a deep run at the playoffs. But they're still as dangerous as anybody offensively this year.
And they're still headed to the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's no getting them out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But Kansas City is 6 games behind Cleveland's baseball club. They're half a game up in the wild card scenario. Are they pretending, or is this true contention for them?
They are absolutely contending, 100% contending.
We
And
love these guys.
I am such a big Royals fan this year, Brig.
Yeah.
I love every little bit of this so much. So I want to show you some numbers here real quick because
I would love to see
first
them.
off, Bobby Witt Jr. was absolutely nuclear through the entire month of July.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's weird is that the Royals are only 13-10 during that time.
Yeah.
Which, you think that they would be better, but I'm filibustering here while I pull up his splits for this season.
They're 27 and 31 against teams over 500. They've got a plus 88 run differential, which for the record ties with Cleveland's run differential and is 2 points, only 2 points, but 2 points higher than Baltimore's run differential, which
Okay,
is
you ready for
also
the
very
are
interesting.
you ready for the July that Bobby Witt Jr. put up?
Yeah.
In 100 plate appearances, he had 90 official at bats, 44 hits, good enough for a 489 batting average, a
Whoa.
1.353 OPS,
Whoa.
7 home runs, 22 ribbies, 2 stolen bases, 6 walks, 10 strikeouts.
Only 10
It was
strikeouts?
unreal. And I think I saw a graphic today that said he had one game during the month where he went hitless. Just one.
Wow.
Yeah,
And there's
most of
4 or
that, a
5
lot of that came.
strikeouts right there, potentially.
Yeah, a lot of that came after the break, but still, like,
Yeah.
who puts up a month like that? Like
No,
nobody,
like
except for a
nobody.
probable MVP.
Right, like
So
Aaron Judge.
I know he won't put up numbers like that the rest of the season, but he's found his groove and he's playing really good ball, and he's going to lead that team to the playoffs. I'm going to say the Royals are absolute contenders.
I agree with you. They're contenders, and it has a lot to do with Bobby Witt. But he's not the only piece,
Right.
obviously. But he can't win it all by himself. And if they make it past the wild card, then they get knocked out. I put him in the very similar position with Boston. If they make it to the wild card, which I think they will, then they'll get knocked out. I don't think they're going deep.
I
That's
don't
my
have the
opinion.
pitch. I don't think they have the pitching depth to go deep, but they're definitely contending for a
Mm-mm.
playoff spot. We're contending for
I
the division
agree.
series.
Now Minnesota is interesting. 59 and 48 overall. That's good enough for 551. It's also 6.5 behind Cleveland, but they are the break-even point in the wild card situation. 25 and 34 against teams over 500, plus 41 run differential. Are they contending or pretending? That's the question. And the only thing I have to say about that is whether Boston or Seattle is going to knock them out of the playoff scenario.
You mean Houston?
Well, we'll see, Brad. Because it could be
No,
Houston or it could be Seattle.
so this is the thing that's crazy about the Twins. They do a lot of things really well, but staying healthy apparently is not one of them.
Yep.
That's like their big problem. And they, for whatever reason, didn't make any deals at the deadline.
No
They made
moves.
no
None.
moves. And so they didn't get better, but then they didn't get worse. I guess they kind of got worse because they had some injuries. But at the same
Sure.
time, though, it's like, I don't know. They're going to contend for a spot, but not anything beyond that. I don't think that they even advance if they make the wild card. Like, I think they get knocked down the wild card if they make it.
See, and I think they're pretending. I think whether it's Seattle or Houston that wins the division, I think that the Twins get caught in the wild card race and it won't matter.
And I could see
That's
that
my thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because Seattle got better, and we'll get there in a minute. Seattle got better. Houston got a little. Well, I don't know if Houston got better. We'll get there too, though.
Right.
But yeah,
Let's get there
it's
now. Let's talk about
okay.
Houston. Because Houston currently sits uh, tied for first place in the division in the AL West. They're 56 and 52 at 519, plus 46 run differential, a staggering 21 and 29 versus teams over 500. I feel like that is a shockingly low split for a team that's in first place. But
Well,
that's the way the West
they're in
goes
first
right
place
now.
because the Mariners can't seem to get out of their own way. And
Right.
honestly, it's by 1 percentage point. But when it comes down to it, if these teams tie at the end of the regular season, as of today, the Mariners have the tiebreaker, so they would be the
Right.
team that wins the division.
Yeah.
So the Astros traded their like highly touted prospect who's come up and made a massive impact on this team, Joey Loperfido.
Mm-hmm.
They also traded pitcher Jake Bloss and minor leaguer Will Wagner, who is actually the son of Billy Wagner. They
Ooh,
traded those three guys to Toronto just for Yusei Kikuchi, who was a middle of the rotation arm.
right.
Now,
Make it make sense.
I can't because a lot of people are really upset about this in Houston. A lot of Houston fans are really upset because Joey Loperfido played a significant role with this team turning things around. A lot of people were saying like it's not a coincidence, and I feel the same way with my Mariners, right? With Ryan Bliss and Tyler Locklear. Like it's not a coincidence that these guys come in and all of a sudden you start winning because you
Yeah,
infuse
right.
some energy, some youth, and maybe a little bit more skill in some
Maybe some
cases, right?
talent. Yeah, for
Yeah, a
real
little bit more
talent.
talent,
Yeah.
and you start winning games. So
Yep.
I am going to be following Houston's record after this trade really, really closely
Well,
because
you were anyway, but
that's
I see what you're
I'm
saying.
going to anyway. I watch them every day, but I'm going to pay extra attention because that trade was really fascinating. I was shocked that they sent Loberfido away
Yeah, me too.
for Yusei Kikuchi,
Right.
who's like good but not great, not worth three big league ready guys. Like that was such a
No,
weird
thank you.
trade. Yeah,
So weird. Okay, Seattle 57 and 53, 518. There's your 1 percentage point. They're 3.5 back in the wild card should they need the wild card berth. They've only lost one in a row. That's not a streak, in case you're wondering. You need at
once in a
least two
row.
for a streak, Brad.
Good song, by the way.
Plus 21 run differential, 28 and 32 against teams over 500, which is still low, but better than Houston's. And I
For
think
the
they're
record, Brig, real
contenders.
quick, there are only like 7 teams in MLB that have a winning record against teams over 500.
Let's go through the list. That would be Baltimore. That would be New York, the Yankees. That would be Cleveland's baseball club. That would be
Phillies, Braves,
Philadelphia, Braves.
Brewers,
Yep.
Dodgers, Padres.
Dodgers and Padres. There they
That's
are.
it. So sitting 4 games under 500 against teams over 500, I don't feel too bad about it.
No, you
The
shouldn't.
problem
You're right.
comes losing 6 in a row to the Angels. That's where the problem
That's a
comes.
huge problem.
That was ugly baseball. But
Don't do
they've
that.
gotten better. They've gotten better. They went and they brought in Randy Rosarina, brought in
Yeah,
Justin Turner, who I know is old guy and mostly washed up, but he doesn't strike out like
that's
ever,
right.
ever,
He
ever.
won't expand the
Right. And
zone. Yeah, right.
that's a big deal for this lineup. Somebody
It's
pointed out
true.
on Facebook, like, well, he grounds in a lot of double plays. It's like, well, it's because he's not striking out, he's putting the ball in play. There you
Yeah,
go. And then they went and got Yimi Garcia from Toronto.
huge.
Dude.
The Randy
And Yimi
Rosarena thing.
he went and got 6 outs on 7 batters, and I think it was all of it was in Boston, and it was like he made that look really easy.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
So the Mariners got considerably better. They ran into a Boston team that was playing pretty well in
Yeah.
at home, which is a place that for some reason the Mariners don't play well in Boston.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Exactly.
and so going home, and I feel really good about the next 2 months of the season with those guys in the lineup. Going to get Julio back soon. Going to get JP Crawford back like the last couple weeks of the season.
Yep.
I feel good about it.
I think they're contenders.
Me too,
No doubt.
for sure.
Now, Texas, should we even talk about Texas?
We can talk about Texas because 4.5 games in the West is not a lot.
No,
8
it's
games in the
not.
wild card is a lot, but 4.5
That's a
games, like,
lot.
despite no matter how good I feel about the Mariners, they could absolutely just like met the bed, right?
They could. Yeah.
And I have a feeling that Houston will probably do something along those lines. So even if
Mhm.
they don't make it, I think they're going to be close. So I'm not going to say they're contending. I'm not going to say they're pretending. I think what they're going to do is they're going to make the other 2 teams nervous
Rightly so.
as an
And
opportunity to play spoilers. And that's really all I
they're
have
gonna
about
make
the Rangers.
the rest of us nervous because if somehow Texas wins the West, that'll just make for crappy baseball playoffs.
Gee, it'd be so bad.
Okay, Philadelphia contenders. Agreed?
They are, but they're interesting.
Why?
So I had
What
this
is
pulled up because
interesting
they
about
had
them?
a terrible July. 10 and
Everybody
14 in
had.
July. 10 and 14, Brig.
Okay, fine. I don't
10
care.
wins, 14 losses, a minus 19 run differential.
I don't care. They could have had it to spare. They're at 102 right now, plus 102.
But for some reason, the Braves are hanging around. That's the problem.
They are. They are.
If
But
the
it's
Phillies
6 games.
have a bad August, the Braves went and made enough moves that there is a
The
good
Braves made
chance
some
the
moves.
Braves catch the Phillies. I don't think they will, but they, at the
I
very
don't
least, they
think
can make
so.
them nervous. Because I'd be nervous right now if I was the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not playing um what's the word? I'm not resting on my laurels if I'm the Phillies, but I'm not going to lift my
Right.
head and check the person behind me in the race. I'm just going to put my head down, keep it down, and keep doing what we've been doing. That's what I'm doing.
Well, what you've been doing for the last month hasn't been working.
I know. You do have to change some
It's 3
things, but
7 in your
focus
last,
on you.
and you've lost
Keep
4 in a row.
keep your head in the game. I don't care. Everybody's allowed to lose a few in a row. Everybody has at least one bad month throughout the season.
That's true. You're
Like
right. And I've been I was
everybody
saying
does.
that 10 minutes ago, so you're right.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not a Rome is not burning. Everything is just fine. Now, I think they're contenders. Do you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
Atlanta though. You bring up a good point with Atlanta. 59-49 somehow. 6 games behind. They're a game and a half up in the wild card. They are one of the teams with a positive uh, record over teams of above 500. That's 38-32, plus 61 run differential. Made some moves at the deadline, as you pointed out. I think they're contenders. It'll be interesting.
They got the band back together.
Mm-hmm.
You got Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, and Jorge Soler back in the outfield again.
Jorge Soler. That blew my mind.
I know.
That
I
blew my
saw a video.
mind.
They were like the Braves getting everybody back together, getting the outfield back together, and it was a clip of like Dan Marino and Joe Montana and somebody else wearing their uniforms, but they're like it was like last week.
Yeah.
So they're all really old.
Yeah. Like John Elway or something, Steve Young or something
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
John Elway was one of
That's awesome. Okay, so the Braves are contenders, but what
they're
about the
contenders.
Mets? 57-51 for the Mets. They're at 528. Only 2 games behind the Braves. That's 8 back in the division, but only 2 back in the behind the Braves in the division. That puts them at a half a game behind in the wild card situation. They've got a positive run differential, 26. They have just 1 game under 500 against teams with a 500 record or better. And in the wild card situation, they sit in the fourth slot. So again, a half a game behind Arizona. What's going on with the Mets? Are we loving what they're doing? Are we
I keep thinking
concerned?
they're going to fall off, right? I think they're going to contend for a
Yeah,
wild card spot, but I don't know that they're going to make it.
right.
Um,
That's how I
and
feel about them. Once
and we're
they
getting short
once
on
they
time, so
punched the Yankees in the mouth at that Subway Series, I was like, oh boy,
mhm.
okay, all right, I'm listening.
Yeah, and we don't have a whole lot of time to like go into it and everything, but
Hmm.
like, I mean, they've got it. Their offense is up there, right? Like
Yeah,
they're putting runs on the board,
yeah,
and I'm looking at their pitching real quick.
solid. The pitching's solid.
It's below average, just
But
below average.
it's not a
It's not
sieve.
bad though,
No,
right?
it's not bad. It's serviceable.
So they're giving up 4.63 runs per game, but they're scoring 4.87. So it's
Oh,
just enough to get by.
there's the answer. Okay, moving on to the Central for the sake of time. Milwaukee contending, no questions asked. St. Louis, where have they been in all the conversations this year? Because we've forgotten all about them, basically.
We kept waiting for them to fall off, but they figured out how to play baseball again. Everybody in the
Yeah,
Central is 5-5 in their last 10. By the way, do you see that?
it's nuts.
That's
It's
so funny.
nuts.
Nobody wants to win the division.
Nobody. So they're 5 games back in the division. They're a game and a half back in the wild card. I think they're pretending still. What do you
I still
think?
think they're pretending. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I'd be fine if they
Now
proved me
that
wrong. I wouldn't be upset about it, but I think they're
no, me
pretending.
neither. Yeah. Now that takes us to Pittsburgh, 55 and 53 for a 509, 6 games behind Milwaukee. I think that's insurmountable. 2.5 games back in the wild card. I don't think that's insurmountable for Pittsburgh.
I think for Pittsburgh, it is insurmountable.
You
Seeing what
think
everybody
so?
else is doing, who's above them, yeah, they're going to
I see.
contend
I
for
don't
that
think
spot.
so.
Like I think they'll hover around 2 to 3 games the rest of the way,
Yeah.
but I don't think they'll get over the hump. And I'll tell you why in a minute.
Tell me why in a minute. Okay. Um, Los Angeles Contenders, San Diego Contenders. Say aye.
Contenders, dude, they might take the division from the Dodgers. Look
They
out!
might.
Look
Yep.
out!
They really might. It's very interesting. Now San Diego, Arizona, 58-51, 532. They have a 26 and 31 record, but up against teams over 500, but a plus 45 run differential. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10, and this becomes the very interesting part of the wild card conversation, don't you think, Brad?
It does. So all season long, the D-backs have been there as one of the top 2 to 3 offenses in the entire league. The problem is their pitching had been horrendous. Well, their pitching
Yeah,
is coming around. Jordan
finally.
Montgomery's figuring things out. Eduardo Rodriguez has not thrown a pitch this season. If he comes back, automatic upgrade over anybody in that starting rotation. And he's
For sure.
fresh
It would
going down
definitely
the
be
stretch.
fresh.
So
Yeah.
you've got
If
that
they
going for you,
rehab him,
which is nice.
if they ramp him up at a graduated pace,
They are.
that'll be the hard part. Are they going to get him there on time without rushing
The,
and when there's enough time in the season left
I think it's one of
to
those
really
things where
do
like
them?
we've gotten to where we are without him. There's no rush. If when then
Mm,
once we bring him back, it takes us over the top, right?
yeah.
So we can hold serve without him. Let's get him to where he needs to be to get us over the top. I think that's going to be the approach. I think your Diamondbacks. I think they're going to make the wild card again.
Well, they hold the line for the wild card right now. So,
Hold the line,
and and we know what they were capable of with the wild card last year. So, don't count them
right?
out. After that, I don't count
Just get in.
anybody out of the wild card.
Just get in,
Anybody.
man.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I do. Do you think Pittsburgh will lap St. Louis on on the leaderboard
They'll
though?
jump them. Yes, I do think they'll jump them.
I do too. I do too.
I just they
Yep.
just need to. There's like a hump that they need to get over, and once they get over that
Yeah.
hump, they'll be really good. Have a lot of momentum going into next year.
I
I
really
don't think
wish
they'll
that it
quite.
would be this year, and I still think it can be. But I do think I agree with you in that it's going to take a lot of stuff from other teams, and that may not happen. So we'll
Oh, because
see.
they've got to pass St. Louis, New York, and Arizona to get into the
Right.
playoffs as a wild
Right.
card. Those are like they'll probably, like you said, they'll probably pass the Cardinals. The Mets are playing really well right now. The Diamondbacks are playing really well right now. Those are two
Yeah.
teams that are going to be really tough to get ahead because
Yeah.
the Pirates cannot seem to get any sense of momentum or consistency.
That's true.
So
3 great starting pitchers, but that's pretty much
the
what they got.
offense is just
So
not real good.
yeah. Baseball family, let us know what you think. Are these teams contending or are they pretending? Where does your team sit in the situation? Is this the point in the situation or in the season where you've just given up watching all the way around? We need to know that. Um, let's go through the lineup really quick for the what do you call it?
TV
TV.
schedule.
Brad,
All right,
hit
I'll start us
Friday.
off. Okay, Friday, your MLB TV free game of the day. You've got the Dodgers at the A's. That's 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Again, these are all Eastern time. Apple TV Plus games. You've got the Royals at the Tigers at 6:40, and the Brewers at the Nats at 6:45. And then you've got a game on ESPN Plus. That is going to be the the Red Sox at the Rangers at 8:05 p.m.
Saturday, MLB TV free game of the day. The Mets facing off in Anaheim, playing the Angels 9:38 p.m. FS1 does not have a game. Fox, 3 games, 7:15 p.m. each. Baltimore at Cleveland, San Francisco at Cincinnati, and Tampa Bay will be in Houston. ESPN Plus on Saturday will be St. Louis at Chicago for the rivalry 2:20 p.m. day game at Wrigley.
Spoiler, they're playing on Sunday night too. Sunday, your MLB TV free game of the day. You've got the Phillies at the Mariners at 4:10 p.m. And then your Roku game is the Giants at the Reds at 12:05 p.m. I had AM on there, but that's definitely PM break.
Makes sense.
My bad.
Noon
And then your ESPN Plus game, you've got the White Sox at the Twins at 2:10 p.m. And then, like I said, Sunday night, the Cards at the Cubs at 7:10 p.m. Series to watch real quick, Brig. Let's go through these. This is brought to you by SeatGeek. If you're going to games this weekend, these are games we would go to, and we would use SeatGeek to get our tickets. You can too by heading to SeatGeek.com and using code Baseball Together to save $20 on your first order. That's right, $20. That's Baseball Together, one word, at SeatGeek.com to get your tickets to the biggest games this weekend and any other time, especially with football season coming up, college and NFL. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of MLB. So my series this weekend, Brig, obviously I had the Phillies at the Mariners, big time. I've got the Rays at the Astros, keeping an eye on the Astros the rest of the way. And then I'm curious with the D-backs and Pirates, what happens there, because that could have some big-time wild card implications going forward.
That's what I'm watching. Arizona in Pittsburgh, we got Nelson Skeens on Sunday, which I think is really exciting. Then Toronto at New York. Obviously, I'll be watching my Yankees playing the boogie down. Baltimore at Cleveland is also fascinating to me. Get the two potentially first place slots facing off against one another. Very cool playoff primer stuff going on. Anyway, baseball family, let us know what you think. What games will you be watching? Thanks for joining us. We went a little long tonight, but we're not sad. We will catch you next week. Don't forget to check out Ball Talk tomorrow morning.